Now, the Central Commander of the Ghana Armed Forces has told the committee probing the Ejura violence that the security personnel who fired at the protesters only did so after shots were fired at them. Brigadier General Joseph Afo told the Ministerial Committee investigating the circumstances leading to the death of 2 and injury of 6 others that 2 persons with weapons have been arrested and handed over to the police.
What I have heard from my commander was that even as I talk to you now, we have arrested 2 gentlemen with weapons. So we've reported it to the police. They are currently, I don't know whether they are in police cells, but with weapons.
Did your commander on the ground inform you that he saw or heard any gunshot from the ground?
Certainly, certainly.
The chain of command and the use of live bullets by the military have been heavily criticized by a section of the public. But Brigadier General Afo says the rules of engagement give the personnel the right to use live bullets when necessary.
The aim was not to kill.
But you did?
No, sir. The aim was not to kill. It was just unfortunate. If the aim was to kill, sir, we would have gotten not less than 100 people dying.
That's true. That's true.
It's just unfortunate.
But, Colonel, you knew that for every such operation, there will be people who are casualties. We're talking about people who are maimed. The crowd, the rioters themselves could have maimed themselves.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I even suspect the weapon that fired from the protesters might have hit one of them.
That's subject to investigation.
Yes.
Yes. And
yes, because you see, the soldiers started firing into the air. If you are not a professional and there's another rifle firing, you wouldn't know. And that is how come some people are saying that they were not handling weapons. When an M16 rifle fires, I know.
yes,
When a G3 rifle fires, I know. But the ordinary civilian doesn't know. The media wouldn't know. So all you hear is gunshots into the air, and it started when the soldiers came. So you assume that it's only soldiers who are firing.
that the firing could have come from the crowd, which I also subscribe to. Could have. But members of the public who don't understand military, whatever it is, strategies, the guns they use, whatever they use, might also say that from the video they saw some of your men kneeling down, and kneeling is aiming. How do you answer that?
So, you see, there is a procedure in dispersing crowd. The first is a verbal warning. The second is to cock your weapons to signal to the crowd that you are about to fire. The third is to fire warning shots. But the signal to scare them includes the kneeling, to aim, for you to be scared and maybe disperse. As a matter of fact, the direction of the man who knelt was said that no casualty came from that side.
But he
didn't fire.
He didn't fire.
He fired only warning shots. But when he went down, he didn't fire. In addition to that, kneeling is a position for firing.
Yes.
We have types of positions we fire for: sitting, kneeling, squatting, standing. One we adopt whichever one he finds comfortable with. So just taking a knee doesn't mean that you are doing something out of the ordinary.
So the soldier you just heard from is actually Lieutenant Colonel Kwesi Peprano was explaining that the military officer seen kneeling in the viral video actually killed no one. Now, the chain of command and the use of live bullets by the military have been heavily criticized by a section of the public, and that also came up at the probe, which was held on the Ejura killings. But let's get over to Zoom now and get to speak with the security analyst Adam Bona. Now, thank you very much, Mr. Adam Bona. So we had you speak, follow the proceedings yesterday, and you had your views on it. What are your views following today's proceedings?
Well, good evening, Israel. Yes, well, I would say there has been some improvement with regards to today's proceedings.
All right.
The line of questioning, if you ask me, I would say, well, significant improvement, but then could have been better. And so if you ask me to rate them, I'm likely to give them about 4 out of 10. I would say if you realize the inconsistencies, that came out today, between today and yesterday. The regional minister yesterday, he is, the one who commandeered or who gave the information or authorized the military to be in Ejura. But he yesterday in his responses didn't say anywhere that they got firearms or they arrested anyone with a firearm. He didn't say that his briefings actually indicate that firearms, they had gunshots at, at the where the disturbances took place. And so to have this come from the military, commanders who largely were not there, commanders who were not there, these people are hearsay. For me, I find that worrying, especially when the same Ashanti region, we know how the Asawasa 7 died. And the police in the Ashanti region shamefully paraded the bodies with firearms and, serious ammo and said these guys used the firearms on the police officers who killed them. But eventually, the committee that was set up to probe the issue, that killing, exonerated each and every one of the persons they killed and said none of them actually had a firearm at the scene where they killed them. And so for me, to hear this coming from them, and you remember, significantly, when the incident took place, the day these young people were killed, the police PRO in Ashanti region, when asked during a press briefing, when asked if they had arrested anybody during the disturbances on the day, he said no. You can go back and play. He said no, they had not arrested anybody. So to hear today that they actually arrested some people with firearms, I'm wondering, where did they arrest them? Was it at the scene? And when the committee members asked them, did you find any spent shell? They said no. And so if you didn't find spent shells, you didn't find, and you heard one of the military officers said he suspects that the gunshot that was fired actually could have been one of the, all these things are a subject of investigation. So as far as I'm concerned, there are more questions I was thinking the committee members probably could have probed. But unfortunately, some of the questions didn't come. But once again, we had, blaming others for the excesses we saw. You saw the police actually say that they sent in the military, even though they picked intel. They sent in the military to be at the forefront because they thought the military would intimidate the citizens. Anyone who understands how these things are done will tell you that people, even young people in this country have lost their fear for the military. And so to say that you send them in and now people have been killed, for me, you can't attempt to justify by accusing others, accusing media, accusing others who speak on these things. I find that very unfortunate. And I thought the committee members could have done a bit better by ensuring that they stayed focused. But you can see, and Israel, it looks like the committee not well prepared. That's my observation. Right. They are not well prepared because I think the committee chairman repeatedly asked that, do you have this person around? If he's there, we need him to come. And I'm thinking that for a committee of that nature,
you thought they would have ahead of time laid out the people they were expecting to invite.
Exactly. I would have thought that the committee, they have all the arsenal within their remit to bring everybody, to ask whoever they want to be there, to be there.
Right.
So to appear there and be actually asking that if this person there means that anybody they find on the day would come, whether you are prepared or not, come and testify. So I think based on that, I would hope that going forward, if I don't know how many. I hear it's 10 days. I don't know whether all the 10 days would be for the hearing, or 5 days for hearing, and they write their report for another 5 days.
Right.
But I think they should do a better job tomorrow.
I want you to hold on because there's another inquiry that I'd like to pick your thoughts on. In WA, 15 witnesses who are also victims of last week's military attack on civilians have appeared before the committee, which is conducting an inquiry into the inhumane incident. My colleague Rafiq Salam has been monitoring proceedings there and joins us via Zoom with more. So, Rafiq, what can you tell us about proceedings today? All right, Rafiq, I'd want to find out what's the outcome of proceedings today? What came up during proceedings today?
Israel, what is happening in the Upper West region? The incident started somewhere on Monday. What is happening?
Yes, go on, Rafiq.
Hello?
Go on, Rafiq.
The incident which occurred on July 1 in the Upper West region had a 4-member committee that was set up by the National Security, having a 4-member committee comprising 2 from the Military High Command and 2 from the Bureau of National Investigations, the NIB. Yeah. And so they started work on Monday. They initially had their meetings with the command officer of the battalion in WA. After that, they moved to speak with the Upper West commander of the National Investigation Bureau, NIB, and then also the Upper West Police Commander and also the Upper West Regional Commander of the Ghana Police Service. And so they also moved to the Upper West Regional Hospital, where they spoke with Muhammad Ghafoor, who developed a fracture on his right thigh bone, and he has to go beneath the knife. And so after that, they spoke to about 16 people in the Upper West region. So today, what they have been doing has been to be at the 10 Mechanized Battalion Agri Barracks to speak with these soldiers who are alleged to have been involved in the act. So in all Israel, there are 86 of them. And so my information is that today they have been able to interrogate about 20 of them at the barracks.
Do you know what was the outcome of today's proceedings? What conclusion did they come to, if any?
We are getting some information that we are gleaning on, which has to deal with some preliminary findings. And then one has to do with some of the persons involved in the act. The information that we have gathered, which is unimpeachable, clearly states that 3 of the soldiers, the sentry guard, and then also other 2 soldiers have also been demoted. That's the preliminary findings. They also investigators also revealed that 11 persons so far have also come forward. Out of the 11, 13 of them also reported of assault cases against the soldiers, and also 13 mobile phones also are missing. They're also talking about a missing man about 14,600. And our investigations also revealed that on the preliminary findings that about 8 soldiers currently on detention. They will have a 30-day detention. That's the punishment given to them. So the investigation is still ongoing. It will continue tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much, Rafiq. So we go back to Adam Bona, and one of the issues that has come up, Mr. Bona, has to do with the composition of this committee. So we're having some soldiers and some NIB officials. And the concern is that they're essentially investigating themselves, and the proceedings are also not in public. Any views on that?
Well, I would have wished that these proceedings, just like we are seeing in the Ashanti region, would have been public. That will probably build some substantial amount of confidence in the state security apparatus, and to have confidence. Let the people of the Upper West, and largely Ghanaians who are suspicious of military and the military movement, to trust that the military are there to defend all of us. And so I would have wished that that is done. But that notwithstanding, if what your colleague Rafiq Salam is saying is anything to go by, then I would say that yes, if others have been demoted, others are in guard room, on in detention, I would want to see swift action. And I do believe and trust in the defense minister. I want to believe that he would rise to the occasion once again and ensure that all of those who are found culpable, those who young officers, soldiers who have barely just finished their training, and the first thing they do after deployment is to go and brutalize the citizens who pay them, the citizens who put them into training, brutalize them this way. I think apart from that observation, apart from saying that they should have made this public, if what we are hearing is true, then I would want to say that, yes, they should continue and interrogate all of them.
All right.
And get everyone who is culpable severely punished. Those who have to be dismissed should be dismissed. Those to be demoted, demoted. I think that will serve as a deterrent for, officers who largely sometimes think they will take advantage of citizens and go free.
All right. Thank you very much, Adam Bona, a security analyst.